Imagine you've committed the most horrific crime a human being could possibly commit against another person. But instead of the gallows, you're offered a position at the world's top universities and lifelong immunity. We're not talking about the Middle Ages here, we're talking about Unit 731, a 20th century laboratory where the word human had been erased from the dictionary. A place where doctors, instead of the Hippocratic Oath, had sworn an oath of butchery. But the truly terrifying part of the story isn't what happened within these walls, it's the price that governments paid to keep this secret buried. Today we're opening a case file that official history spent years trying to tear apart. A case that proves justice is sometimes nothing more than a commodity to be traded. In 1930, the Imperial Japanese Army was searching for a weapon that went beyond gunpowder and steel. They created Unit 731. On the surface, it was the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department, but in reality, a factory for producing the Black Death. They referred to their victims as Maruta, which means logs. Why? Because in the minds of this unit's surgeons, those people were no longer living beings. They were merely raw materials for experimentation. Victims who were vivisected without anesthesia so that doctors could observe organ function while they were still alive. This wasn't science, it was a madness carried out under the shadow of an imperial flag. Their objective was biological warfare. They weaponized the plague, cholera, and anthrax. But how? By injecting them directly into prisoners and watching them disintegrate from the inside out. They were testing the limits of the human body. How long does it take for a human being to explode in a vacuum chamber? Or in minus 40-degree cold, how much time is needed for flesh to peel away from bone? This is the very subject that was suppressed in history books for decades, and even today, discussing it in public is still considered a red line. Why do we know everything about the Nazi experiments in Nuremberg, but the name Shiro Ishii, commander of Unit 731, has been heard by so few people? The answer to this question is the dirtiest deal of the modern era. The war ended. Hitler was defeated. Japan surrendered. The world was waiting for justice to be served, but behind closed doors, a massive auction was taking place. The United States realized that the data from Unit 731, which was obtained with the blood of thousands, existed nowhere else in the world. They made an offer that couldn't be refused. Give us all the results of your human experiments, and we promise you that none of you will ever be prosecuted. Yes, you heard that right. Criminals who should be ranked among the most terrifying individuals in history, instead of the gallows, were moved to well-equipped laboratories in Maryland and Tokyo to help advance science in the West. Justice was sold for the price of data. Now we are faced with a bitter truth. Much of our medical knowledge today about frostbite, burns, and the effects of biological weapons is rooted in the suffering of the Marutas in Unit 731. Can knowledge obtained through torture be used to save human lives? The 10-year silence after the war was no accident. It was a systematic cover-up to prevent the embarrassment of the world's greatest powers. Because revealing the truth that the architects of peace took the most terrifying war figures under their wing could have shaken the moral foundations of the post-war world. Unit 731 taught us that when there is no accountability, science can turn into the most terrifying weapon in the world. But the real question isn't what happened in those years. The question is right now in classified laboratories whose names you don't even hear in the news, what boundaries are being shifted? Are we once again trading ethics for military superiority? If this video opened your eyes to a part of history that you had never seen before, share it with someone who thinks they know everything about World War II. Let me know in the comments section, was trading information for justice worth it at that time? I read all of your comments. Subscribe for even darker stories. Until the next episode, watch out for the shadows.